In the lead-up to the upcoming federal election, both major parties in Australia are promising to cut immigration numbers as a key part of their policies. But will these promises actually help solve the country's housing crisis? Let's dive into the details. Australia has seen a significant increase in immigration since the pandemic ended. This surge happened for several reasons. Before the pandemic, policies were already in place that encouraged more overseas students to come to Australia. During the pandemic, additional measures were introduced that would accelerate immigration once borders reopened. These factors, combined with a strong labor market, created a perfect storm for increased immigration. Now, when we talk about immigration and housing, it's important to understand that it's not a simple equation where one immigrant family equals one new house required. Different types of migrants have different demands on housing. For example, working holidaymakers often travel through regional areas and stay in backpacker accommodations. Overseas students tend to live in apartments near city centers. Family migrants usually live with their sponsors, so they don't necessarily increase housing demand. Despite these nuances, some political leaders are pointing fingers at immigrants for the housing crisis. However, experts agree that there are multiple drivers behind this issue. The failure of successive governments to implement adequate housing policies over the past 20 to 30 years has contributed significantly to the current situation. One of the challenges is that housing policy falls under state jurisdiction while immigration is handled by the federal government, making coordination difficult. Looking at other countries, particularly in Scandinavia, we see examples of better managed population growth without a housing crisis. Their approach to long-term rental differs from Australia's emphasis on home ownership. The Albanese government has been exploring similar ideas with its build-to-rent scheme, challenging traditional notions of the Australian dream. On the other hand, Dutton has proposed cutting international student numbers, aiming to limit commencements to 240,000 per year. However, setting caps on immigration numbers might not be the best solution. Caps create complex annual negotiations, provide no certainty for planning, do nothing to improve education quality or address skill shortages, and ignore the broader context of Australia's population needs. The reality is that reducing immigration drastically isn't feasible for Australia. There are fundamental reasons why certain levels of immigration are necessary. Firstly, Australians who marry foreigners have the right to live together in Australia. Secondly, there are jobs that simply cannot be filled by locals in the short term, especially in sectors like health, education, and aged care. Lastly, demographic factors play a crucial role. Lowering migration accelerates population aging and brings forward the point where deaths exceed births. As we approach the election, it's clear that immigration remains a contentious issue globally, influencing elections worldwide. While some ideologies may seep into Australian politics, implementing extreme measures such as mass deportations would be extraordinarily difficult and counterproductive. Ultimately, both major party leaders need to commit to a rational immigration policy. This means commissioning proper research into what Australia's long-term net migration level should be, and establishing a framework that ensures transparency and accountability. By doing so, they can restore public confidence that immigration is being managed in the national interest, addressing both economic needs and social concerns, including the pressing issue of housing affordability. In conclusion, while slashing immigration numbers might sound appealing as a quick fix, it won't magically solve Australia's housing crisis. A more comprehensive approach that considers both housing policy and sustainable immigration levels is needed for real progress.